I'm wrestling, you're not weak for me. Celebrate what I am. Celebrate what I have been. Celebrate what I represent. And celebrate the many ways I have impacted your life. I will survive this test as I have survived others. I am forever etched into the very fiber of all mankind. The world needs me. Time is on my side. History guarantees me. I am wrestling. Do not wait for me.
What's up, everybody? This is episode 35 of the T-Row and Funky Show. I am your host, Ben Askren. As always, with my main man, Tommy Rowlands. What's going on in Ohio, Tommy?
Nothing much, my brother. Just recovering from following Fargo all week. And, I don't really want to steal the thunder because you were actually there. But, we're heading into probably the slowest time of the year for wrestling in every year besides the Olympic year.
You are correct, my friend. And that is where I want to start this week's episode. Tommy, I don't know your opinion. I got the general feeling that you're probably on my side and going to agree with me. But if you don't mind, I kind of want to go off about this IOC decision.
Do it. I'm with you. Do it.
Okay, Tommy, it's freaking insanity. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have been following, reading through the reports of what's been. It's called the McLaren Commission report. Came out kind of detailing how much cheating Russia was doing on these drug tests. And the stat was that they somehow covered up 350 failed tests. Just let that sit for a second, Tommy. That's mind-blowing. 350 really failed tests. That's not like they got their athletes out of the test or anything else. That's literally the athletes peed in the cup, they failed, and the Russian people hit it. That is
just the fact that it's cheating's one thing, state-sponsored is just, that's where you find out the corruption in the world, the fact that there is no substantial penalty for Russia as a country for sponsoring this type of stuff is just mind-blowing.
100%. And so I think that the IOC chickened out. They either got paid off or they got threatened with a shotgun or something. I don't really know what the deal was, but the IOC got paid off because when there's something like this, I mean, listen, Tommy, in wrestling alone, I want to say it was 26 failed drug tests that were covered up. And then, like I said, let me repeat what I said before. These are when they actually failed a test and Russia swapped them out, right? This doesn't include any other things that they could have done to not be tested or to pass a drug test. This was literally 26 failed tests in the sport of wrestling alone. So when some people are saying, well, I'm glad they didn't get banned because what about the innocents? Like, Tommy, think about this. There's 12 spots for Greco and freestyle men's wrestling. Each one of them dudes could have got busted twice, and they'd still have 2 tests left over. I mean, freaking A, right?
Right. It's just validation of the culture that exists in the Soviet countries. I don't think that Azerbaijan or Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan or Turkmenistan or Georgia or any of those other countries or Ukraine have any type of different culture than the one that Russia's falling victim to. And, yeah, that's what we're up against.
So, now, let me think. Do you fall prey to this? I've heard many people in the wrestling community say, well, if Russia didn't show up, there'd have to be an asterisk by it. And I think that's bullshit because in 84, I'll give you the asterisk in 84 because they didn't miss because they were cheating their ass off. They missed because of political concerns. So I'll give you an asterisk for that one. But this one, it's like, well, if say you go to the national tournament, Tommy, and number 1 seed don't make weight, is there an asterisk? No, the dude didn't make weight. That's part of the thing. You can't wrestle if you don't make weight, and you can't or shouldn't be allowed to wrestle if you can't pass a freaking drug test. So, asterisk, there should be no asterisk. There should be an asterisk by any Russian that wins.
I don't fall victim to it at all as a competitor, especially at that level, because it truly is a game of inches, and one little needle in the rear end, 3 weeks before.
They're not taking one little needle. They're taking many.
Exactly, but I'm just saying it's a game of inches. So we're talking about, minutia here, but that's where the Olympics are won or lost is in the minutia. And so I don't think there's an asterisk next to the title at all. Now, it's a different discussion as a spectator, as a fan, as someone who wants to enjoy watching the Olympics, I think that it wouldn't be as fun to watch. But there's no asterisk for the competitors who complete purely, cleanly, and fairly, and the guys that have to sit out. There is no asterisk next to that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So I don't see where these people are coming from. I honestly, I'm kind of shocked. I thought when that McLaren report came out and they were just detailing all the procedures Russia went through to cheat and how many failed tests there were and all that stuff. I read that, Tommy, and I'm like, there is absolutely no way the IOC can let Russia compete at the Olympics, because it's pretty much just saying, like, all right, let's let them have at it. There will be no punishment at any time at all.
The only thing to consider, Ben, is that even though Russia clearly has a culture of state-sponsored doping in every sport, anybody who would argue that fact, yeah. Anybody who would argue that fact, because it's now a fact, is a moron. But here's the only thing, Ben, and it's an interesting topic, but not every Russian does steroids. Not every Russian in every sport is doping.
Man, 26 failed drug tests in just wrestling. It sure seems like it.
Well,
I mean, how does one stay clean in a culture like that, though, Tommy?
I don't know. I just don't believe that. I mean, there was a whistleblower, right? I mean, in track and field.
She used. She didn't. Her deal was that she didn't like. Like the fact that she was being forced to use. So I believe she started dating an anti-doping official from a different country, and that was kind of how they blew the whistle on it. But she's not being allowed to. Okay, I got her name here. It's Yuliya Stepanova.
Don't be surprised if she gets in a car accident in the next 3 or 4 months.
Wouldn't be surprised at all. But so she's actually not being allowed to. There's also concern expressed for Yuliya Stepanova, a Russian runner whose evidence helped expose the nation's doping scandal, but will now not be allowed to compete in Rio under a neutral flag. So they're not letting her compete.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. I mean, I think even Putin has admitted that there's an issue, there's a culture of doping in the federations, in the governing body of all sports in Russia. But do you believe that every Russian in every sport is doping?
I would say the percentages are so high that the only thing you can possibly do is ban the whole country to send a message. Tommy, it's kind of like when the big banks were jacking around and then the government gave them money. You know what's going to happen? The big banks didn't stop doing what they were doing. The Russians ain't going to stop cheating. The only way you're going to get the Russians to stop cheating is to freaking ban them from the Olympics.
I can't believe you used the bailouts
the big banks
as an example.
They were cheating their ass off. They were like the Russian on steroids.
I was on a group text with Russ Ellickson, Mitch Clark, Blake Kaplan, who was an All-American, Johnny Clark, 2-time All-American, Case Kaputska, all these guys that wrestled at the collegiate level. And when the IOC released their statement that they're not banning Russia, I said it feels like a government bailout.
Tommy, that's what it's like.
It feels like a government bailout.
Well, I mean, you really think the Russians are going to stop doping and be like, well, they almost caught us. I guess we just stop. They're going to be like, we're too big to fail. We're too big. The Olympics isn't the Olympics without Russia. We ain't stopping. We're going to double down.
It's the same premise that what the Olympic Committee is saying, how can we run the Olympics without Russia? No different than the federal government saying, how can we run the government without GM? How can we run the government without these banks? And although there is logic that can be applied to that philosophy, you could, let them, they made their bed. They made their bed.
Yeah, and it's been proven without a shadow of a doubt. So you're right. There are probably a few clean Russians, but I mean, the lady who came out, that Stepanova she pretty much made it seem like that all Russian athletes were forced to dope. That's kind of what she made it seem like.
Well, for me to say that this guy doesn't dope and this guy does, at this point, you throw the deck of cards in the air, and chances are, to your point, it's more than likely that they do dope or have doped. But just let's just imagine that Abdul Rashid Sadulayev, two-time defending world champ, he's ripped out of his mind. But most world champs are, Ben, even the clean ones. Even the clean ones. Let's just say that he's not a user. How sad would that be that he can't be in the Olympics?
But listen, when you do something this tough, this drastic, there's going to be some casualties, Tommy. That's just how it is. But when you got a problem that you got to solve like this, I mean, this is a big issue, Tommy. Because don't think there's not other nations looking at what just happened to Russia and thinking, well, shit, they ain't gonna kick it. Don't think China's not looking at this thinking, well, they wouldn't kick us out of the next Olympics, right? That's what they're
I'm trying
thinking.
my best to take the other side. I'm trying to spice up our podcast.
I know, it's crazy though.
Your points are too good.
It's too hard. Well, it's too hard to take that. I don't have to make much of a point because for anyone with common sense who's not on the take. It's just like, duh. They should have been kicked out. 350 failed tests. Okay, I'm done with that. Let's move on to the next topic. No one's moving into the damn Olympic Village. Problem number 2. Have you read these articles?
I didn't even know that. I didn't know we were talking about that tonight. So what's going on?
No one's moving in. They're not safe. They're dangerous. The toilets won't flush. No one's moving into the Olympic Villages right now. How crazy is that? And what would you think of... What do you think the athletes are dealing with right now? Especially, the wrestling's got to compete kind of later on in the games, but some of those athletes got to be ready to compete on day 1, day 2, day 3 of the games. And so we're talking right now less than 2 weeks, Tommy. Less than 2 weeks, and they can't move in the village. I know I saw some of an article said some of the American contingent were bringing in their own laborers to fix the problems.
Like what, certain federations were hiring labor? Or?
Yes, 100%.
Wow.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if it's the most important event of your life, and even if you've already been in the Olympics before, that next Olympics is still the most important event of your life at that point. So, I mean, to go to those lengths, it's a game of inches. Back to our first discussion
I'll tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you right now, Tom. I kind of liked it when shit went bad for everybody because I always felt, and maybe this is just me being crazy or me imagining stuff. I kind of always felt I was the most mentally equipped to deal with situations. Like I could handle it, without freaking out. And I figured some of these situations would make other people freaked out. So I actually kind of liked it when stuff went wrong.
I'm with you.
Travel issues or whatever.
I follow you completely.
But this is rough. People ain't moving.
Well, it's just embarrassing. I mean, more than anything, it's embarrassing because to your point, these are world-class athletes that have been training for this their whole life. Everyone has the same circumstances. It's not an unfair playing field. It's just a ridiculous playing field that they have to play on. It's embarrassing. Yeah.
So this is from 7 hours ago. So we're pretty much bashing the IOC on this episode because
don't be surprised if we get in a car accident in a couple
of
weeks.
I mean, I would not. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked. Although photos from the village show the facilities are far from uninhabitable, the biggest problems are gas, electricity, and plumbing. So
simple stuff, just
gas,
utilities.
electricity, and plumbing, no big deal there. Where are they going to poop at? Problems include blocked toilets, leaking pipes, exposed wiring, darkened stairwells where no lighting has been installed, dirty floors in need of a massive clean. In operation areas, water has come through the ceiling, resulting in large puddles on the floor or on the cabling and wiring. Oh my God, Tommy.
Unbelievable.
I mean, come on. The Olympics are supposed to start with 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks. So just wow on that. I don't even know what to tell you. I did read this very good book. I can't remember the name, and it detailed the commercialization of the Olympic movement, which it was so intriguing. But in my opinion, that's why right now that's why Russia's in the Olympics, is because they know the Olympics is going to draw far worse ratings without Russia in there. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's a lot of money on the line, and judgment gets clouded, and you got a lot of smart people in the room that can justify letting this slide. They can build a case where, although you and I would disagree, Ben, there's logic applied. There's reasoning that you can use, that you can skate out of this and not feel like you're doing the wrong thing.
Sure.
But common sense prevails. You got to follow, what makes the most sense sometimes, and I don't think it's hard to see what should have been done.
Definitely. Okay, so you want to get on Fargo? I mean, we're talking about the Olympics probably next week.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we got the opening ceremonies. I think they're next week. Either way, we got a few weeks till the wrestling starts.
So we'll start Friday. Tommy, I'll be at your house. Friday, August 5th is the opening ceremonies.
Yeah, dude.
I'll be at your house. We can
We'll
watch
figure
it.
it out. Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Wow, cool. There we go.
I think let's do Fargo.
Fargo. Let's go. Where do you want to start at Fargo?
Ben Darmstadt, where else?
Really? I got a good relationship with Ben. He's came to the Funky Fresh camp for 4 years, I believe. And I'll tell you a story, Tommy. So Funky Fresh is an invite. I never told Ben this story, so I hope you don't get upset or nothing. Funky Fresh is an invite-only camp, right? So they send an email. They say, this is my son's credentials, whatever. So 4 years ago, Ben came with this kid named Corey Shy, he's coming back this year. Corey Shy is a really tough kid out of, I want to say Cincinnati, definitely an Ohio kid. But the first night, Ben Darmstadt cut his eye, and I remember watching the kid wrestle, thinking like, how in the hell did I let this kid into camp? Like, he ain't very good.
How long ago is this?
That was 4 years ago, so it was a while back. But obviously now he's a freaking animal, huh?
I mean, sadly, I'm going to admit I've been hearing his name for a couple years now. Never really sat down, logged on to Flow, and really watched him wrestle until he won Fargo and got OW. And I'm like, I gotta watch this kid wrestle. And I watched 4 matches at Fargo. I was very, very impressed. He's still Bambi. In terms of
very immature.
Physically immature. No fault of his. I'm just saying, still physically hasn't grown, which is actually a positive, I think, as you look outward to his college career. So, he can't wrestle men right now. He couldn't step on the mat with Jaden Cox or Gabe Dean and go toe-to-toe. But this kid, when he gets that man strength, which he's, within 2 years.
It's going to happen.
When he gets that man strength and he attacks at the pace that he attacks and he moves laterally for an upper weight, the way that he moves and the instincts that he has, he is going to be a stud, an animal. I don't want to make predictions. All I know is I liked what I saw. I think Cornell's got a great one. And I like the way he wrestles, so I'm just partial to the way that he wrestles and the state that he's from.
I don't think you're far off, Tommy. I'll tell you what my brother said tonight. And my brother is far from the one that makes bold predictions. And he goes, actually, Brian Real Buddha from Cornell is hanging out with my brother right now, and I was over with him, and he said, and I said, oh yeah, Darmstadt's red shirting or gray shirting or whatever, right? And Max said, well, that's what he should do because then Jaden's gone and he's got a chance to be a 4-timer. And I'm like, whoa, Max!
Wow,
that's a bold prediction right there. But right. I guess you and him are kind of thinking along the same lines.
Yeah, I think 3-time All-American in the hunt a couple times. I think that's very practical.
Definitely. I think so too. He is an animal. Hey, you brought up Ben Darmstadt right away, which I'm a big fan of him. But what do you think? Let's start the Fargo off with Fargo's got 1 more year on the contract. This was the second to last year that USA Wrestling, I guess, is a 25-year contract. What do you think about USA Wrestling possibly moving Fargo to a different location?
My immediate reaction is that's interesting. I don't know if it's what's best or not. You could argue a lot of different angles. I think it's interesting. I really do. I don't know how to interpret that, to be honest.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think they should stay in Fargo. And I think certain people disagree. Certain people would say they should move all over the country. I think for a sake of logistics, you are not going to find a lot of places around the country that have the logistics necessary to host that large of a tournament. I mean, when you think on just the scale it is, there's 24 mats, there's over 2,000 wrestlers per style, the parents, the families, a lot of the kids stay in the dorms right there. They're fed by the dorms. They can walk from the dorms to the dome. And, you're just not going to find that location and that venue very many places. So I think that's a big reason why I would vote for it to stay up in Fargo.
Yeah, no, and plus it's become kind of a staple. I mean, when you say Fargo in the national wrestling community, people know what you mean. I mean, Brutus has talked about just making a shirt that says Fargo on it because the magnitude of what that word means within our wrestling culture is, it's elite. It's the for age group level, supremacy. It's the number one event in my opinion. I think you would agree with me.
Yeah, it's the biggest of the big. You know what? I think UWW cadets and juniors are starting to make kind of a push where they're getting more and more important. But I think I think I would still say Fargo.
I think the model of a college campus, so the kids can get fed and they can get each state federation can have economical room and board. You've got to be on a college campus. I think that's something you can't change. And I think you got to have a dome because you have a huge covered area to lay down 25 mats
and have seating too. I mean, because a lot of major universities have indoor domes with no seating for their football team to practice in. But so you got to have a dome with 24 mats with seating also. So how many of those are there? Not
many. You've got Northern Iowa.
So someone told me they got kicked out of Northern Iowa because it was there many, many, many years ago. It was there.
Is Northern Illinois, which is like an hour outside of Chicago,
is that a dome?
Because you could get all these states flying into Chicago, drive. It's a little bit more geographically friendly than Fargo.
I don't think they have a dome though.
I think you stay with Fargo. I mean, it's not broken. I mean, you and I point out a lot of things within our sport globally that are broken.
Sure.
I would say that event is not one of them.
Definitely not one of them. And the other thing you got to deal with, too, there is, I mean, it was hot in Fargo, Tommy, but if you start going farther and farther south in late July, I mean, it's going to be blazing hot. Like, seriously hot.
It's terrible right now in Ohio. I am flying to California tomorrow for a trade show, and I'm going to California to cool off. That's how hot it is in Ohio right now.
Oh, God. Yeah, so
it's terrible.
So I think, and then the last piece there is just the familiarity. Like how many state leaders take their teams there year after year after year, and they got it down. It's not that hard, not much to think about. And if they got to go somewhere else, especially if they don't have the accommodations of a college campus, finding dorms, finding food, or finding housing, finding food, finding transportation. I mean, that's a beast.
I agree. I think what we're doing is we're basically doing USA Wrestling's helping do their due diligence. You got to keep it in Fargo. We're talking ourselves into it. I mean, I'm thinking you stay.
I'm thinking you stay also. So
okay.
There we go. We're settled on that. Okay, who else do you want to hit here? One kid I was really impressed with. It's actually another Ohio kid right off the bat. Kid named Jordan Decatur. He pretty much mauled everyone in a very tough bracket.
Mm-hmm.
You got to watch him wrestle in high school at all?
I've got to watch him wrestle once. His finals match. Dude's an animal. Stud.
Where's he from?
Ben, you're really starting to expose my lack. I'm not proud of my Ohio knowledge nowadays. I don't know what part of Ohio he's from.
He's from Akron.
Got it. He's LeBron trained.
LeBron trained. I wonder what high school he did. Probably CVCA or something. He's good. Another guy I was.
Hey, how'd AWA do?
Oh, Tommy.
We don't do any self promotion, but how'd you do?
We had a tough year. We had two All-Americans. I honestly thought this was going to be our breakthrough year, where we've kind of had a couple each of the last few years, and I thought this was going to be our breakthrough year. And I think we had 6 guys lose in either the round of 12 or the round of 16. So we were like right there on the breakthrough, but man, you just realize how tough Fargo. I mean, it, right? But then when you see certain kids you have that have won every freaking state title and every Northern Plains title, and they win everything, and then you go there and it's just like, you think the first 2 rounds are easy matches, and all of a sudden you're like, geez, this guy's kind of tough. This guy's tough, and it's just like, wow, these brackets are, especially the middleweights, say cadet 106 through 138, and then junior say 113 through 160. My God, they are just so deep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just an incredible tournament. Hey, by the way, I know we're bouncing around a little bit, but this pertains to our topic. I loved your Facebook video post right outside. I think you were getting your car at the airport, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just a good message you sent to all those kids, and you kind of eventually you got to your own story where you, I think, went 0-2. And then by the time your Fargo career is over, you won the thing. And it just took me back. I think that there's so much soul searching that gets done for so many great wrestlers at that event. I think the fact that you're in Fargo, North Dakota, you're not in Chicago or New York or Indianapolis. You're in some far-flung place where there's 3,000 wrestlers, and you don't compete the way you want in the dead of July, and you put your whole summer. You put the whole summer. I just think you do a lot of soul searching. And
100%.
And my freshman year going into my sophomore year, I had a similar situation. I went 4-4. I went 0-2 in Greco and 4-2 in freestyle. I had greater expectations of myself than that, way greater. I wanted to do really well. And
Yeah.
I remember, I feel like it was the all-time low of my career in terms of wondering if I'm really going to be as good as I think I can be.
Wow.
I mean, I've been hurt worse, not making the Olympic team and things like that, but just really saying, am I going to do it? I mean, am I going to be what I think I can be, or am I just flat out wrong? And I remember that was probably the all-time low when it comes to that type of mindset. And ironically, not even ironically, just as fate would have it, the next year I went 17-0 and won Greco and freestyle. A lot of things happened in that year. Mainly, I got pissed off for greatness, as Ray Lewis would say. I just got mad, and I hit puberty. So those two things combined.
Boom.
Yeah,
Puberty's a PED, Tommy.
Yeah, I got on the natural PED plan, and anyways, but I remember those. Fargo to me, I think I wrestled between Greco and freestyle. I want to say that I wrestled 75 matches in Fargo.
Sure.
And there's not a event that has shaped me more as a wrestler than the 4 weeks I spent in Fargo as an athlete.
Really?
I don't think so.
That's a bold statement there, Tommy.
Well, I'm not talking about more memorable. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about one specific event. Is it the Big Ten tournament? Is the NCAA? I mean, at the NCAA tournament, although my amazing memory is at the NCAA, did I learn? Was I evolving? Was I developing as a person, as a man, as a wrestler? I feel like Fargo is one of those. I think it's Fargo.
Yeah. No, I hear you loud and clear. And Tommy, I actually made 3 videos. I had it so like when I make a video, usually I think of like things I'm gonna say, and then I just have at it, and some of it makes it in there, some of it doesn't. And so my last video was kind of, it had a couple different purposes, but one of them was kind of finding people that are great and kind of following them, see how they train, see how they live, and so you know what it really legitimately takes.
Right.
And I almost brought you up because, like I said, and I've told you before, when I was a freshman, I was 0-2. I remember you and John Trench, I believe, both won both styles, and you were both kind of smaller guys who grew into bigger guys, and I kind of thought that was going to be my path, and so
that's cool.
Yeah, so you guys were kind of guys I started following and started watching a lot. So you almost made it in that 3rd video.
That's pretty cool, man. It's funny that you and I feel like we're the same age, but at that time, I was like, I guess
senior.
the big shot, and you were the freshman. It's kind of fun. Yeah.
Big time. And then I guess when you're saying shaping, one great Fargo memory. So I was terrible. I went 0-2, and then the next year I also didn't place. But the one great memory I have is like, and I told this on a recruiting story, is that I wasn't being recruited my junior year, and I won 2 state titles, and I beat Troy Letters in the 3rd round, which in those days it wasn't the same kind of bracketing. It was that I think they called it straight line bracket. What did they call that kind of bracketing? Where they had the 2 pools and you weren't out till you had 2 losses.
Oh,
what's that called?
I don't know. I know what you're talking about, though.
Okay, well, anyway, so round 3 is still very early. I mean, you got to make it to round 8 or 9 or 10 to be an All-American, right?
Right.
And so I remember I beat Troy Letters in round 3, and Troy Letters was a freaking man. And I remember thinking, like, I just got myself a college scholarship.
Yeah.
Like, that was it, So, to your point, Fargo, I guess, also had a very big impact on my life. I don't know if I'd say biggest, and the most depressing point in my life was when I went to college. I was getting my ass kicked every day.
Your redshirt year?
Redshirt year, but...
yeah, that was pretty low for me, too.
But... yeah, so we kind of went through some experiences.
So we didn't step on the Matt Stieber style, or Zane Rutherford style, or Kyle Snyder style, or David Taylor style, and just light people.
David Taylor had a kind of rough.
He did, yeah. No,
and
I'm not surprised because he kind of had that little Bambi physical build like you had for your.
Yep.
And I did too. Even though I was a bigger guy, I was not strong for my weight for sure. I mean, just wasn't there.
Sure. So. All right, let's get back to the
individuals
competition. I feel like when I say these guys impress me, they're kind of like does because they freaking won Fargo, But nevertheless, I'm going to go ahead and say him anyways.
Let's do it.
Travis Whitley. This kid is, I remember it would have been a year ago. I had an upperclassman go to UWWs, so I think he wasn't a real cadet, but he was a UWW cadet, because he had the extra year.
Uh-huh.
And Whitley was a first year and usually that gap is the 15 to 17-year-old. That's a big gap, right? And Whitley just freaking, and the kid that was down there, I was watching a video, pretty tough kid. Whitley beat him down. I was like, good Lord, who is this freaking kid?
What weight is he? I didn't get a chance
Whitley's
to
a
watch.
170, and he's only a cadet, but I mean, I think you can argue he's up there with even the best juniors. I mean, I think you can safely make that argument. I don't believe he was scored on. I know he won 10-0 in the finals. He's really, really good. He's on the cadet world team also. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
He did not get scored on. I just checked the bracket. He did not get scored on. It looks like all 10-0s, and he is in fact on the world team. So big name there, and then the other one, which is another guy who he's got an afro actually, so that kind of makes him double cool. Kid named Colton Schultz. He actually took a loss.
Where's he from? Colorado.
He's a Colorado kid. He's got an afro. You want to hear a cool story about Colton Schultz?
Yeah, man.
So when I came back and I competed in 2010 was when I kind of was fighting, and I came back. I did some tournaments. I was at the Dave Schultz Invitational, and this kid came up to me and asked me if he could carry my bag all day. I'm like, yeah, whatever, cool. Good deal.
This is great.
So I rolled everyone up that day. Got a pin in the finals. Gave the little kid my medal, and so a few years later, this kid Colton Schultz is making the news. Big time wrestler now.
Right.
And I kind of looked at his picture, and I'm kind of like, I think I know that kid. Like, I think that was the kid that carried my bag around the day. And sure enough, the mom sent me an email and said that was in fact him. So
that's awesome.
That's a really funny, cool memory from. So it must have been 2010. Dave Schultz. So he probably would have been 9 or 10 years old.
Super cool.
But
super cool.
He won. So he won freestyle. The guy from
what weight is he?
220, and so he's got that rivalry with Stevenson from Minnesota. But Colton Schultz actually lost to a kid named Tyler Curd in Greco. Came back and whooped him in freestyle. But Tyler Curd is the one who had that freaking amazing throw that went viral. Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
Tommy, how could you not see this? It went
all
viral.
Right.
Flo started posting it, and then.
Well, I gotta look it up.
The WWE retweeted it. John Cena retweeted it. So I guess the move is actually John Cena's finishing move.
Are you serious?
I'm not even kidding. Let me see what you should Google. I think just type in Tyler Curd.
How do you spell Curd?
CURD. Let's see.
All right.
I bet it comes up. Oh yeah, right here. When Bleacher Report picked it up, Deadspin picked it up. I mean, everybody picked it up. It's pretty freaking. It was pretty crazy. Oh, are you watching it right now?
No, I tried to search it on Flow. Tyler.
Oh, there we go. Search. Hello. Can you hear me
I'm here.
Oh, I searched it.
We're still recording.
Yeah, we're still recording. That music came up. I searched it on.
All right, I got it.
Watch his throw. It's freaking savage. Like big guys aren't supposed to be able to do that, Tommy.
Yeah.
Boom!
That was the real deal, dude. That did look like WWE.
And I was actually sitting by the mat. I was sitting on, you can't see, I was sitting on the turf on the other side. But when he picked him up, I'm thinking like, good
you
God, just call the match.
Right on the mat?
It's a mat 23, so there's turf. It would be to the left side of this video, and I was kind of sitting over there bullshitting with Max and one of the other coaches. And when he picked him up, I'm thinking like, good God, stop the match. Don't let him freaking slam him. No one got hurt, and it went viral, so I think it's all good.
That's insane, dude.
Seriously, that throw. Tommy, you ever done a throw like that?
No, I never have. That's not really my forte. I like swing singles.
Dork. All right. Let's get to the main event. Let's get to the juniors. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, man, I'm in.
All right. So, juniors, I don't love the lighter weight classes. They're tough, but they're kind of a little thinner. I think 120s. In my opinion, where it really gets really, 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 really deep and really, really, really tough.
Mm-hmm.
for the juniors. You know, below that, you got some smaller guys. You know what move I think is a bullcrap move, Tommy?
Which one?
This is a bullcrap. I hope you agree with me. So a junior is defined as any high school kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So freshman through senior. The kids who are cadet 100s who realize junior 100 is a significantly easier bracket, and they bump up.
It snaps me.
Terrible. It's terrible, isn't it?
It snaps me. Cadet 100 is usually tougher than junior 100 and so on and so forth.
Way tougher. I mean, it's like, yeah.
So who did that move?
Oh, I'm not going to say on this podcast.
Okay, all right.
I mean, well, you know what? Probably a bunch of them. Frankly, I don't even know. I mean, there's only, what's it like? How many is there? 18 kids in the bracket, where 8 are all Americans.
Right.
So there's, there's you know, I would guess a bunch of them are cadets, and you know, cadet 100, I want to say there's like 80 people or 90 people or something crazy like that. So you're going from either 18 to 8 or 80 to 8. I mean, it's pretty obvious which one's more difficult. Okay, Teasdale versus Dalton Duffield. Teasdale obviously is the Iowa recruit, committed with Spencer Lee, their buddies. Dalton Duffield won Greco. Good back and forth match. Dalton Duffield was up early. Teasdale comes back and beats him. And that bracket was also deep. Brandon Courtney was tough. Drew Matt, Danny Vega. Man, some really, really hammers in there. You know who kind of was the big winner? Flo wrote an article who were the top 10 winners of this, but one of the things that they should do that they didn't, I don't know who wrote it, Willie or Holmes or whatever, but they should have included some non-people, some obscure things. Bloody Elbows does this when they write MMA reports. And Iowa State.
They have 5 finalists, 4 champs and a runner-up, right?
I've been fairly critical of Iowa State's performance over the handful of last years, but yeah, Tommy, 5 finalists
around,
and
man.
4 well, I mean, these guys haven't done anything in college, but that's a
but they had a good. They're on the uptick, even though the uptick is lower than maybe you should think the standard. They're on the uptick anyway, and then they got these recruits coming in.
5 finalists. That's pretty freaking impressive, right?
It is. It really is. I mean, has that ever happened?
Man, I couldn't say.
When I was coming through, like Minnesota's recruiting classes were incredible at Fargo. I do remember that, but I mean, I would argue that maybe it's never happened.
Yeah, I would say we would need like a Jason Bryant or Willie
Jason
Saylor
let's see if you can figure it out for us.
To recruit that one or research that one, because that's a good question. I would want to say no, but I'm not sure on that one. So they got that kicks off with Austin Gomez. He got the pin over Paul Conrad, who's coming to Wisconsin at 126. 132. Ian Parker from Michigan is also going to Iowa State. Now this bracket was tough, but not quite as tough. I think 138, in my opinion, is the bracket of the tournament. Nick Lee, he's headed to Penn State, he won it, and that finals match against Kane and Storr. Kane and Storr is another one going to Iowa State, correct?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
I think he was their only runner-up,
and he was winning a majority of the match. And, you know, so that was a great match. Nick Lee's going to be another really good one for Penn State. I believe he still has 1 year left, maybe? Yeah.
Not sure. I think
he's going to be a senior. I don't think he's going to Penn State. So I think he's going to be a senior, but he's already early committed. And he also has a younger brother named Joe Lee, maybe, who's also committed. They all committed to Penn State way early. So that bracket was awesome. Lee actually tech-falled Mitchell McKee in the semis 14-4, and Mitchell McKee, I held him in very high regard. I think he's an animal. So
I still do.
Still do, even though he got rolled up by Nick Lee.
Yeah, it's still tough. I mean, he's got plenty of big W's under his belt.
Yeah, well, there it is. And Nick Lee also tech-followed Iowa recruit Carter Happel. So this guy had a hell of a tournament. He just went straight beast mode, ran through everybody. Till the finals, ran into a little choke, but got it done. Who else is in this bracket? There's someone else I want. I'm on the bracket now. I'm looking through it. There's someone.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm not looking at the bracket. I'm seeing the placements.
Oh yeah, we had a tough kid. That's who I was thinking of. It was a Wisconsin kid. That was why. And Caden Gefeller, he got knocked out from injury default early. That would have made the bracket more tough. But kid named Jaden Van Manen, really tough Wisconsin kid, ran into Canyon Store early, lost a battle 8-6, and then he got bumped out. He didn't end up placing. But that was a really good match. I believe it was in the round of 16. It was pretty early in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We go 145.
This Artelona kid, I've heard good things about him.
Man, I haven't watched much of Anthony Artelona. I have also heard the name, obviously, many times. And he beat Jared Verclaren.
Well, he beat that PA kid that won the Worlds, right?
He won. Verclaren's a cadet world champion. Yeah, so he's super tough. 152, you had Griffin Perry Ott, who was he's a Purdue recruit from Minnesota, and he's placed very high on the national level. But he won both styles this weekend. So big congrats to him. He's headed to Purdue, and hopefully he'll be that. And then Minnesota followed up with another title at 160. Kid named.
I'm surprised that Minnesota lost to PA when you look at these results.
PA brought a tough team. You know, PA back in our day, Tom.
Back in the day.
Pennsylvania brought all the hammers.
Yep.
They really did,
yeah.
and they don't do that anymore. They sent the young guns, who in my opinion is probably one of the better clubs in the country, if not the best. I'm actually going out there for a clinic this week, so that should be fun. But they always send those big teams to those folk style tournaments. What's the damn one? The one in the Disney Duels. The Disney Duels. So, I think that kind of takes away from Pennsylvania's contingent. But yeah, to your point, Pennsylvania did win this year, and Minnesota was second, Illinois was third. So it was a very competitive team race.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, Ohio all the way down to 7th. I did not.
I know. Don't get me started.
Wisconsin's 15th, so not much. Yeah, so Pennsylvania bringing back the studs, and obviously, every state didn't have everybody they had, but obviously, a Spencer Lee probably would have scored some points for him. Hey, you want to hear one idea I got? I pitched this to someone else, and you really like this idea, Tommy.
I'm ready.
You ready for it?
I'm ready, man.
So the Fargo's obviously already great, but I think it could be even better, Tommy, if they did team scoring differently. So the way they do the team scoring now is after the places are determined, you get I believe it's 8 points for first, 7 points for second, and so on down, right? What if they did a scoring system in which you pick 2 guys per weight, or it just automatically calculated your 2 top guys, so you didn't have to pick something to that effect, and then. So it was, so then it was calculated like regular tournament scoring, right? So if you get a win, it's a point or 2 points or whatever.
I think if you did 2 guys per weight, that's fair. Each state picks 2 guys per weight.
Sure, something like that. And that way, they could keep updating it on the boards. And I think it would add a fun team component to the tournament, so you could kind of follow who was winning the whole time, because it would, it probably would go back between. The quarters, one team jumps in the lead, then the semis, another team jumps in the lead, then someone, I think it would add a fun team component, because Fargo is the only tournament left in the United States of America where they enter as large state contingents, right? So Wisconsin brings 50, Michigan brings 30, and so on and so forth. There's no other tournaments like that. It is literally the only one.
Yeah.
What do you think? So get some state pride involved?
Yeah, man. I think that I think that there's always ways to draw in the interest, draw in the team support. I mean, from my days in Fargo back in the day, I don't remember knowing what was going on with the team score. And so we can engage the athletes in the states, and then the media for that matter, get people more rah-rah about, each state winning. Yeah,
and especially, I was thinking it's from a team perspective, when you say every match matters, or whatever, then you're going to get more kids paying attention to other kids' matches and cheering and that kind of thing. I just think it would create a unique dynamic. I think it'd be a good thing for them.
Yeah.
But that's my idea. But Fargo's pretty freaking awesome the way it is.
Insane. Love it.
So small addition. Canton Marriott, University of Missouri recruit, wins it at 170. He's going to be at the University of Missouri next.
What do you think of this kid? You've probably watched him a few times.
You know what? I haven't watched him too much. He's a Park Hill kid, which is they're a powerhouse out of the Kansas City side. Gary
Mayab, right?
No, Mayab is at State. He was at Oak Park. He's now at Blue Spring. I'm sorry.
Oh, you
he's
said
at,
Park Hill. I got
He's at
confused.
Staley. Yeah. Park Hill. Oh, they just changed coaches. Oh, wow. I want to say Keck maybe, but I might be wrong on that one. I should probably Google this. I'm going to get yelled at for not knowing the answer to that question.
Happens to the best of us, my brother.
Happens to the best of us. Okay, let me see who it is. I hope I'm right. No, Jeff Davis? Okay, so I was way off because I don't know. I think Keck might be the club coach then. So, yeah, either way, they're freaking good. They've pumped out a lot of really good guys. Alan Waters was a Park Hill kid.
Gotcha.
So was Johnny Eblin. So they've had a lot of really good guys over the years, but he comes along the same lines. Hopefully he's going to go in years to make a difference. One other kid I want to give a shout out, kid who trains at my club a little bit. Kid named Jackson Hemauer. He did the Fargo special time. He lost second round. He won 10 in a row to take third place.
Awesome.
10 in a row.
Stud.
And his blood round match was the only match. I got my second yellow card in my life. But it was really my only match where I was legitimately mad at a referee. And it was like a 9-7 match he won, but this referee one time the kid's name's Jack. Jackson took him to right single leg, right into leg lace. The referee stopped it. And we're like, what did you stop it for? And he wouldn't give us an answer. And then another time, he was up with 20 seconds left and he's in a single leg and he changes it off and he's about to finish and the referee stops it. And it was like 4 or 5 things like this, right? And our guy wins, and I'm like, this ref, he can't literally. I mean, because Tommy, let me make a point here. I mean, it's kind of funny to a certain extent, but now Jackson's already committed to the University of Wisconsin, right?
Right.
But being an All-American versus not being an All-American can determine where your future is going to go, right?
Right.
And when you got a guy refereeing, he was on the mat ref, right? The on the mat ref who is not at the ability level he needs to be to ref that match. And this guy was not.
Right.
That can change a kid's future. We just talked about, I got a freaking college scholarship because I went out and beat Troy Letters.
In the third round.
If that match is ref differently, who knows? I don't, right? So I got Troy Letters in a trapped arm gut. What if the ref just stops it? And then I don't get 6 points off that trapped arm gut?
It is. Yeah, it's just.
See what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I'm with you,
So I'm
man.
freaking irate, and the match is over, and I go over to the table and I say, let me know that guy's name because I need to go report him to the head referee. He is not able to be on the mat. He doesn't have what it takes. Listen,
Right.
Some of us aren't made for jobs that we take on. We just aren't. And
Don't even get me started on this. I've had this discussion about other walks of life. And
So they say no. I said, come on, give me his name. And they say no. And I said, give me his damn name. And they're like, do it one more time in a yellow card and tell me my flight was leaving 2 hours later. So I said, give me a damn yellow card. I don't give a crap. So he's like, here's your yellow card. So I went to the next table of referees. What is that guy's name over there? And they told me. And so I went to the head referee. I'm like, guys, listen, I haven't bitched about a call in Fargo in 8 years or probably more than that. Listen, I don't bitch very often, but this guy, he is not fit to be on the mat.
Love
To that point, the refereeing, if that was the only complaint I had, the refereeing was pretty good.
Yeah, I got to say, 23 mats, it's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. And didn't have to shake anyone up too much. All right, back to it. Owen Webster winning at 182. He's going to the University of Minnesota. Did he win last year?
Don't know.
If he did, it was close. Let me go ahead and Google this. I believe he was a Cadet World team member last year, if he did not win it. And Kevin Parker is going to Princeton, younger brother of Greg Parker. You remember Greg Parker?
Oh, yeah.
Remember
Princeton boy.
Remember
Yep.
who he lost to in the finals?
Oh, gosh, why are you doing this
Oh,
to me?
yeah. Come on, Tommy. Let's see what you got.
Who was it?
Greg Jones. That was Greg Jones' first title. Crazy, right?
This is crazy. What's he doing now, Greg Parker?
I think he's in New York City working or something, but I'm not really sure. No idea. So let's see, 195, we talked about Ben Darmstadt. He's an animal. 220, another Iowa State recruit. This kid's good, and I think some people were talking about he was gonna go play football, but he decided to wrestle. And then heavyweight, you got another Iowa State kid, Gannon Gremmel. Tommy, what do you do there when you got a 220 and you got a heavyweight both going to Iowa State? They're both the same grade.
Well, I haven't seen the physical builds of these guys, but you would assume that KJ.
Shields Colbray's if he's going 97, he's going to be a big damn 97, I'll tell you that much.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, so.
Well, KJ must have some type of plan up his sleeve.
Or maybe make him wrestle off. I don't know. Well, that was Fargo in a nutshell. Is there any other thoughts you want to get off your chest about Fargo?
No, I thought we covered a lot of it in the beginning, with the experience of Fargo, what Fargo means, some of the highlights. It was good going through the weight classes, too.
Hey, were you ever bad enough to have the time to trade singlets?
The last 3 years I got first, then fourth, second, then first. But the first year I could have traded singlets, but I refused. So I just sat in the stands. It was just
wow.
Not a single.
I traded singlets like a badass when I was. I had so many freaking singlets. That's another fun part. Seriously, not even messing around. Trade so many singlets. All right. Well, you want to call it a wrap or what?
Let's do it. Let's call it a wrap. What do we want to do next week?
We got to do an Olympic preview. It's going to be what we do, but we'll be early August. I think we got to do an Olympic preview. I'm in. Hey, some guy asked me, Tommy, I got a lot of compliments on the show, which is fantastic at Fargo. Hey, all 41 of our listeners were out there, huh? I saw a crap ton of Brutus gear, too. Someone said that we should do a show on the biggest high school busts and why they were bust. I can't do it. I can't do it. We can't do that. That's what I said. Me and you should do a private one when you come to my house in a week and a half. That would be fun, but I can't do it. Can't throw people under the bus. Just can't do it. That'd be too brutal, right? It's just a bust is, sometimes they just don't get it done. I mean, they just didn't get it done. I don't want to talk about it. Sometimes they're kids and they make stupid decisions too. Right, exactly. Yeah, I would stay away from that topic. Big time. Okay, well, listen, thank you to Defend Soap, Defend What You Have Built, sponsoring us. Tommy, we're not very far away from getting to be a whole year old, so this has been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward going into year 2. We're gonna up the production value, I think. Have a good time, keep it casual, and keep rocking. Nice. Well, that's good by me. All right, Tommy, you have a great night. You too, brother. See ya. You are listening to the T. Rowe and Funky Show, and it is brought to you by Defense Soap. Defend what you've built. Tommy, I gotta say, I tried these products. He shipped me a box. I love them. I've had, if you know me, you know I've had ringworm issues for a long time. So I'm looking forward to putting these in my repertoire and hoping the ringworm does not come back ever. No doubt, Ben. And to top that off, the company was created by wrestlers. Guy Seiko wrestled at Cleveland State University. His son was an All-American in Virginia, so these people really get it. They know what the wrestling community needs.